Welcome. This is Unit 1 titled Workshop Safety for the subject Workshop Practice WSP 115C. After the completion of this unit, learners should be able to apply the correct rules according to NOSA standards in the workshop environment. NOSA is the National Occupational Safety Association. You should also be able to recall the unsafe acts and unsafe conditions that can lead to accidents in the workplace. Should also be able to explain the role of good housekeeping and hygiene in the prevention of accidents and injury in the workplace, because some accidents can be caused by bad housekeeping or bad hygiene. Also be able to explain the role of the correct care and use of tools and equipment in the prevention of accidents. How do we prevent accidents from happening by the correct use of tools that we are given or the equipment that we have in the labs? Name the different types of personal protective equipment that can be used to prevent accidents and state the instances where it must be worn. So whatever work that you must do, what equipment should be worn at that instant and how do you wear this equipment. Recognize the different safety signs in general use in the industry. State the general safety precautions that electricians or technicians must take when working on electrical circuits and apparatus. Safety in the workplace. The responsibilities of the employer or the manager according to the Mine Health and Safety Act. The employer or manager must ensure that healthy and safe work environment for employees. So you must make sure that your environment is safe and healthy for all the people that are working in your environment. Ensure that the employees are trained to deal with health and safety risks associated with the work. So whatever work that you are doing, if you are working with dangerous substances, make sure that your employees are trained to deal with that environment. Provide workers with appropriate personal protective equipment free of charge. So you don't charge your employees with the PPE that is supposed to protect them when working at your environment. So you provide that for free. What are the responsibilities of employees according to the Mine Health and Safety Act? So the employee must take care of his or her own health and safety, as well as the health and safety of other persons who may be affected by what he or she does. So in the workplace, we will make sure that you are responsible for your own health and safety. So if you're at the lab working on any equipment, make sure that you are safe. That's the first thing. Then secondly, make sure that any other person who is in the working environment is not affected by what you are doing. Number two, use and take proper care of the PPE and any other facilities or equipment provided. So you don't break any equipment in the lab, and you also make sure that you protect and you take care of your own PPE that you are provided with. Comply with the prescribed health and safety measures in the workplace. So there will be safety signs, make sure you adhere to them. What is an accident? An accident is an undesired event, often caused by unsafe acts of persons and or unsafe conditions in the workplace. So it can be caused by a person or it can be the conditions in that workplace that causes the accident. And it may result in physical harm, which is injury, death, negative influence on health. So these are the three things that can happen. And it can also cause damage to tools, equipment, or property. And it can also lead to the loss of production. Basic causes of accidents. We can start with the unsafe acts. The following are considered to be unsafe acts in the workplace and must be avoided. Working at unsafe speeds and taking shortcuts. Doing jobs that you are untrained and not authorized to do. Working without guards or on machinery, that is replacing or lifting guards on moving machinery where there is a risk of being caught or where the injury may result. Failure to secure machinery or materials, using incorrect tools for the job or broken or worn tools. So when we are working in the lab, for example, as you will be dealing with filing. So make sure that you file according to the instructions. You don't take shortcuts and want to finish earlier and then you end up injuring yourself or injuring any other people in the lab, or damaging equipment in the lab. So if you're given an hour to do the job, make sure you're there on time, and then you do it according to the given period. You don't take shortcuts to finish the job earlier. So make sure you always work according to the schedules, and you don't take shortcuts, and you don't work at unsafe speeds as well. As we continue with the unsafe acts, making adjustments to machines without switching it off and waiting for it to become stationary. So if you're working with the drill, make sure, or the grinder, make sure that it's stationary first before you make any adjustments or changes on the machine. Touching moving parts of a machinery, also when you're working with a drill, make sure it's stationary before you can touch it. Not wearing the personal protective equipment when required by the job to do so. So always make sure you wear the correct PPE. Not obeying the safety signs in the workplace. Horseplay in the workplace, so we don't play around in the workplace. Make sure that you always follow the rules. You don't do pushing or shoving of fellow employees. Basic causes of accidents continued. We now move on to unsafe conditions. The following unsafe conditions in the workplace must be recognized and corrected: lack of machine guards, unsafe construction, unguarded holes or walkways, badly marked or unmarked exits and walkways, poor ventilation, lighting, and noise levels. Dangerous chemicals that is not safely stored or marked, lack or unavailability of sufficient appropriate firefighting and equipment, lack or unavailability of appropriate PPE. The importance of safety. Everyone has a role to play in preventing workplace injuries, illness, and fatalities. Should always think safety is everybody's job or concern. A safe workplace has the following advantages. It is vital to every employee's well-being. It enhances the reputation of the business. It also contributes to improved profitability of the business. Basic terms used in health and safety. Health. Ensuring the health of workers means protecting the bodies and minds of people from injury or illness resulting from materials, processes, or procedure used in the workplace. Safety. Safety in the state of being free from danger or risk. Risk. The situation involving exposure to danger. Accident. An accident can be defined as an unplanned and uncontrolled event caused by unsafe acts or unsafe conditions that result in harm to a person or damage to a property. Injury. An injury is a physical harm to a person. Near misses. Near misses are incidents where no injury or damage to property occurs. For every 10 near misses in the workplace, a minor accident will occur. So always avoid these near misses. Dangerous occurrences. This is a miss which could have led to a serious injury or loss of life. Identify and deal with workplace hazards and associated risks. To examine the workplace for hazards, one needs to understand the meaning of workplace safety, hazards, and risks. What is workshop safety? Workshop safety is about preventing injury and illness to employees in the workplace. Therefore, it is about protecting the minds or service providers' most valuable asset, its workers. To make the workplace safer, the mine or service provider has to acknowledge which potential health and safety hazards are present to determine where, what, and how a worker is most likely to become injured or ill. State with analyzing individual workstations and work sites for hazards. What is a hazard? A hazard is something unsafe or unhealthy that has or might cause harm to people. You may say it is an accident waiting to happen, but by taking steps to control the hazard, you can reduce the chance of being injured. Sometimes the hazard is obvious, such as slippery floor or unsafe machine, which you are asked to operate without guard. Some hazards result from work process, such as mechanical hazards, noise, or dangers from substances. Other hazards result from equipment or machine failures, control or power system failures, or chemical spills. What is a risk? A risk related to a particular hazard is the measure of a chance of an accident occurring and the severity of the consequences of the accident. The aim of the hazard control process is to determine the risk related to any hazard so that the likelihood of an accident is made as low as possible and decrease the severity of any possible accident. When testing electrical systems, it is important that you are aware of the potential hazards and risks involved. The following workplace hazards that could be encountered when testing electrical systems. Hazard and risk assessment. When determining the hazards and risk involved in the testing of electrical systems, the following main areas need to be assessed. Hazards and risk involved in the working area, hazards and risk associated with the electrical system, hazards and risk associated with the various tools and equipment. Workplace hazards. The following are the workplace hazards that could be encountered when testing electrical systems. Slippery surfaces, moving electrical machinery, elevated workplace, confined spaces, harmful gases and inadequate ventilation, dust, heat, illumination, noise, incorrect use of tools. Hazards and substandard conditions are dealt with. Policies and procedures of each specific company must be adhered to, and learners and trainers or facilitators must become fully conversant with these requirements. Housekeeping. Housekeeping means a place for everything and everything in its place. This means having no unnecessary items laying around and keeping all necessary items in their proper places. Efficient production and a safe working environment go hand in hand. The elimination of accidents caused by poor working conditions is necessary if you want to get the job done properly and safely. A clean, well-ordered working area and good housekeeping improve the image of the business and reflect a well-run business. An orderly workplace will impress everyone who enters it. Remember, first impressions last. Good housekeeping improves the work environment and working conditions because injuries are avoided when gangways and walkways are kept clear of superfluous or unnecessary materials. It cuts down the time spent looking for tools, goods, or materials. Space is saved when everything is stacked away tidily. Fire hazards are reduced because combustible materials are kept in proper receptacles. Good housekeeping should be practiced throughout the entire workplace by both management and workers. Elements of good housekeeping. Mark out passages, aisles, and walkways clearly and keep them clear. Clean up all spills immediately to prevent slipping. Provide facilities for proper storage of tools, equipment, and materials. Provide bins for waste and mark it clearly. Put up safety notices and signs. Introduce color coding. Enforce rules. Use checklists to make regular inspections. Typical accidents arising from poor housekeeping. People tipping over loose objects on floor and in work area. Slipping and falling on greasy, wet, and dirty floors. Articles and material dropping from above. Heads or other body parts, care on projecting nails, wire, steel, trapping, etc. Bumping against poorly stacked or badly placed materials or objects. Fires. There are many signs of poor housekeeping. Examples may include excessive clutter or waste materials in the area, congested aisles, tools and materials left on machines, dusty, dirty floors and work surfaces, waste containers overflowing, untidy or dangerous storage of materials, for example, material packed in corners or overcrowded shelves. Cluttered and poorly arranged work areas. Like when you are working with filing in the lab, you'll notice that always you'll have some materials that are left on the floor. So we always make sure we clean up when we are done. That's good housekeeping. Benefits of good housekeeping. Good housekeeping benefits both the employers and the employees. Some of the benefits include the elimination of clutter and excessive waste material, which are common cause of accidents, such as people slipping, tripping, and falling, improved productivity and workmanship, and increase in workers' morale or students' morale in our case. A reduced chance of harmful material entering your body, such as dust or vapors. More accurate counting of stock. A neater workplace that is comfortable and pleasant. The saving of space. Morale. The confidence or good spirit of the team or group of people. Safe practice with regards to stacking of goods or materials. Use the following guidelines when stacking goods or material. The base should be level and capable of carrying the weight of the stack. The height of the stack must not be more than 3 times the width of the base on its narrow side. All stacks must be interlocked and bonded. Stacks should not obstruct exit routes, doors, signs, or ventilation. The goods or materials of each layer must be uniform in size, shape, or mass. Pallets must be in good condition. Remove articles from the top first. Do not climb or stack ladders. Loads stacked on trucks must be secured, covered, and tied down. Sufficient space must be allowed between the stacks for firefighting access. Hygiene. Put litter in bins. Keep locks and change rooms clean. Maintain high level of personal hygiene and prevent skin disease and ingestion or swallowing of hazardous materials and biological substances such as germs, bacteria, etc. in the following way. Do not eat or store food and drink in the workplace. Keep your skin and work clothing clean. Wash your hands before eating and after using the toilet. So you wash them after eating outside the lab. So we don't eat or drink inside the lab. Safe care and use of tools. When handling tools, materials, and equipment, make use of the correct tools and equipment. Never misuse the tools, materials, and equipment. Tools, materials, and equipment, if not handled correctly, could result in personal injury. So use the correct tools for the work. The use of incorrect tools can result in a tool slipping and causing hand injury. Hazards and risks associated with the tools and the equipment you are working with can be associated with using the wrong tool for the job, which is not ensuring tools are in good condition, not using the tools as they are designated to be used, not wearing appropriate PPE where necessary, not taking good care of your tools, not maintaining, cleaning, and storing tools in the correct manner. Using the equipment, the tools, check for defects. Hammers, handles are tight, not mushrooming of heads. If you're working with the files, the handles are fitted and the sharpness. When you're working with screwdrivers, the tips square and correctly shaped are not worn. Handles in good condition, insulated and secured. When you're working with chisels and punches, the heads are not mushroomed or bent. When you're working with spanners, check that they are not rounded. Number 3, apply general safety rules. Use the correct tool for the job. Use the correct size of the tool for the job. Ensure that the tools are in good condition. Report and replace broken tools. Use tools correctly. Wear appropriate PPE where necessary. Always take good care of the tools. Maintain, clean, and properly store tools away after use. Number 4, use hand tools safely. When you're working with screwdrivers, make sure that the work is secured, must fit the screw. Use drill or awl to start the screw. When working with hammers, keep eyes on nail and chisel, etc. Wear gloves or use the foam rubber disc. Wear your goggles if necessary. When you're working with files, keep it clean and sharp. Ensure that the handle is fitted and tight. Never hit your file with a hammer or use it as a lever. Do not put it in your pocket. When working with portable electrical equipment, examine before use. Make sure it is earthed, if not doubly insulated. So the earth wire to the center pin on the top plug. Check the cord for cracks or weakness. Replace, do not patch. So do not put an insulation tape on the cord. Make sure you replace it if it has cracks. Check the switches for correct on and off operation. So make sure it can switch on and off. Check for damage or cracks in the housing. Operate it safely. Place cord safely away from heat, water, and oil, out of the way of persons walking or vehicles crossing. Stop tools before adjusting. Secure the workpiece. Work at correct speed. Do not force it, especially when you're working with the drill or the grinder. Wear the appropriate PPE. Safe use of ladders. You examine your ladder before use. Keep ladders clean. Dirt hides defects. Grease or oil cause people to slip. Check for defects, cracks, etc. Repair or replace. Check safely fit where fitted. Check hinges on the step ladder. Use the correct ladder for the job, meaning you must use the correct type, and you must also use the correct size of the ladder. No metal ladders or metal reinforced ladders when working with electrical apparatus. Remember, electrical apparatus can conduct, so if it's a steel ladder, then it can conduct and you might risk being electrocuted. Do not bring into contact with power conductors. Place at the correct angle. Your feet should be 1/4 or 1/3 of its length from the object that is resting against. If possible, it should extend 1 meter above its support. Unless the ladder is securely tied at the top, it must be held by another person. So there should be another person that is holding the ladder when you are climbing on it. Lock hinges when using a step ladder. Lock the doors before placing a ladder over a door. Do not lean a ladder against windows or doors. Use both hands to climb a ladder. Haul tools up using a bucket or a basket and remove after use. Store out of the way and safely after use, either laying on its side or suspended from several walls brackets to prevent warping. This is a demonstration of the correct use of tools and equipment. So all three guys are doing something wrong with the use of the step ladder.